He said, there are a lot of people out there who give you a story. I want to give you the straight story.
6c. The territory of Archelaus was brought under direct Roman rule, and a man of equestrian rank at Rome, Coponius, was sent as procurator with authority from Caesar to inflict the death penalty. In his time, a Galilean named Judah tried to stir the natives to revolt, saying that they would be cowards if they submitted to paying taxes to the Romans, and after serving God alone, accepted human masters. This man was a rabbi with a sect his own, and was quite unlike the others. Of the fourth sect of Jewish philosophy, Judah the Galilean was the author. These men agree in all other things with the Pharisaic notions, but they have an inviolable attachment to liberty, and say that God is to be their only ruler and Lord. They also do not value dying any kinds of death, nor indeed do they heed the deaths of their relations and friends, nor can any such fear make them call any man Lord. And since this immovable resolution of theirs is well known to a great many, the resolution they show when they undergo pain.
There are people who are running around, primarily in the Galilean hillside, have fallen out of the mainstream of society or on the margins. Maybe farmers who have lost their farms, people who have fallen on hard time.
Why are all the major followers of Jesus from small fishing villages on the Sea of Galilee? Think of Peter and Andrew. They're from Bethsaida, small fishing village to the north, and they live at Capernaum. And Jesus is from Nazareth, a hillside village inland. What's he doing over there by the lake all the time, the lake? And why in the 20s?
The boycott of the red slip plates begins around the year 4 BCE. What's remarkable is that it endures for 70 years.
The Jews of Galilee didn't get tired of doing it. They kept on boycotting. They never let up. They stuck to it all the way until the actual time of the revolt, when the Romans came in and stopped them.
It's a dangerous place to live. So what kind of a theology do people who live in a place like that develop? Time and place.
In those days that Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee and was baptized of John in Jordan. Now after that John was put in prison, Jesus came into Galilee preaching the gospel of the kingdom of God and saying, the time is fulfilled and the kingdom of God is at hand.
So think of all the implications. Think now of the 20s in the territories of Herod Antipas and begin to understand why two populist movements might start to resist him. But you're beginning to see why precisely then Jesus, John the Baptist in Perea, Jesus in Galilee, the two parts of his territories, might resist him at that time. And we're beginning to see why people might be ready for that message.
He does what any savvy operator does in a situation of oppression. He plays his hand very close to the vest. He speaks in veiled language in public. He moves from place to place. He keeps several hideouts and safe houses. And nobody but his inner circle knows where he is. Jesus' ministry, as we call it now, no matter how we construe it, no matter what kind of theological articulation we give it, was at least historically on a collision course with Roman hegemony in the region. That Jesus was publicly executed as a criminal against the Roman state on the charge of sedition.
He says, go to the Galilee and you will meet him as he said.
You'll see that Josephus says in one passage of his book about the war against Rome that the thing that most moved the Jewish people to revolt against Rome was the prophecy that a world ruler would come out of Palestine. That tells us that they were moved by the Messianic prophecy and that the revolution against Rome that we often think of political was in fact not simply political, but religious and messianic. It leads up from the Maccabean period in the 2nd century BC on up through the Herodian period into the 1st century.
Judas, aka Theudas, son of Ezekias, 4 BCE, death of Herod. Simon of Perea, 4 BCE. Athronges the shepherd, 4 BCE. Judah the Galilean, 6 CE. John the Baptist beheaded by Herod Antipas, c. 27 to 29 CE. Jesus of Nazareth, crucified by Roman ruler Pontius Pilate, c. 30 CE. Theudas beheaded, c. 44 CE. James and Simon, c. 46 CE, sons of Judah the Galilean, crucified by Tiberius Alexander, nephew of Philo, who was procurator, 46-48 CE. The Egyptian, Mount of Olives battle, escaped c. 50 CE. Eleazar, son of Danaeus, c. 52 CE under Felix. Menachem, son of Judah the Galilean, 66 CE.
If you think that Jesus was influenced by no one, and he knew exactly where he was going, and he landed like an alien from outer space, there's no point looking at any archaeology. But if you put Jesus in his historical context, 1st century Judea, he was, after all, a 1st century Jew, then you suddenly have to say, wait a minute, here's a man living in a country under Roman occupation. Clearly he's going to be influenced by people, and he's going to influence people.
When Herod died in 4 BC, his death triggered a messianic fever. Rebellion broke out on 3 fronts across the country.
This was the beginning. This is the place where the serious rebellion started, here, at this point where we sit here now.
Was this a nationwide revolt?
Yes. Israel was literally burning during this rebellion, yes. There were 3 centers for this rebellion. 3 messianic leaders. One, Judah in the Galilee. The second one, Athronges in Emmaus. And the third one, Simon from the Perea, from the area of Transjordan.
Suddenly, our idea of the world that Jesus was born into seems very different from anything that we heard about in Christmas carols. I mean, this was no tranquil land with shepherds tending their flock and wise men following stars. This was a land riddled by political unrest and violence, rape, pillage, crucifixions, Jews against Romans. There was a revolution going on.